In this lesson, you'll learn about the Fillet Expert. Open the part called Fillet Expert in your Infinite Skills folder for Chapter 5. The Fillet Expert can be found within the fillet command. So if we initiate the fillet, you usually see this interface in the Property Manager, but if you press on the Fillet Expert button at the top, you will see a slightly different interface. There are 3 different operations that you can do with the Fillet Expert. One is to add fillets, the second is to change fillets, and the third corners created by fillets. So let's take a look at the add function. This is probably the most useful that I've found. If you select an edge, particularly in a plastic part or a part that has a lot of repetitive edges in it, you can use this toolbar that pops up to select similar edges. These are all the internal edges. These are all the edges in the first pocket. These are all the internal and external edges. I can't tell what these tools do just from the icons, but cursor over each icon, you can see that visually there's a different selection of edges for each icon. My favorite option is this one where all the edges are roughly parallel even though they have draft on them. So let's select that and notice that SOLIDWORKS is previewing all of the edges. If you had to select these manually, this would take a long time. If you go back and edit that feature, you see that each one of these edges has been selected individually and the Fillet Expert buttons are gone. From there, let's go ahead and use this again and get the outside corners. We should have an option here for all the outside corners and make this size slightly bigger. And then, of course, we'll put another fillet on the bottom and make this one a little bit smaller. Some of the other things that you can do with selecting edges for fillets include the following. If we remove some of these fillets, just going to select all of them and suppress. If you select the face and create a fillet, SOLIDWORKS automatically selects all of the edges on that face. Let's delete that. Okay, now let's go ahead and select the face again and Control select this time an interior edge. And if we start up the fillet command, SOLIDWORKS is not giving us a preview, and it's telling us we've got a face and an edge selected. This should read loop and tell us that interior loop around this particular pocket is selected. We won't see that until we click the OK, and you see that it filleted around this particular edge. If you want to fillet only around the outside loop, you can start the fillet, click on the face, and Control select an outside edge. Let's set this to 0.05. Okay, let's remove this fillet, and let's say we want fillet around the outside edge. So let's start the fillet command, click on the main face, and Control click an outer edge. Again, what we see here is a bug because SOLIDWORKS should only be filleting the outer edges, but it's previewing all of the interior edges. But when we click the green check, only the outer edges are filleted. Now there are a couple other things that you can do with a loop. You right-click on an edge, you can say Select Loop, and you have 2 options. If you click this arrow, loop or this loop. Remember, every edge is associated with 2 loops because there are 2 different faces for every edge. Other options for selection are to right-click and say Select Tangency, in which case it's selected the edge and this tangent edge. Or if you select a larger face, like this one, SOLIDWORKS fillets everything on the outside. If you select a face like this one, SOLIDWORKS fillets everything on the outside and the inside. And you can even select a feature. So, for example, if we remove these last 3 fillets, I can use the fillet command and select the extrude feature, and SOLIDWORKS will fillet every edge around the feature. This is a possibly underused function in SOLIDWORKS, but it's pretty handy, and when it works, it's great. This is assuming, of course, that same radius fillet on every edge of that particular feature.